Hello, and welcome to the latest installment of Randy Taste Things here on your favorite YouTube channel, Randy and Dave's Place. It's hot, baby. It's the hottest place to be on YouTube. I hope you've clicked all them buttons, like, subscribe, and get yourself some alerts. And spread the word. Friends, family, hairdressers, grocery store, produce department
he really
guy.
can drag his words
Everybody
out.
that you know.
I mean, spit it
get
out,
them on
buddy.
Here. Let's go. All right. We got some stuff to talk about. I've got some homemade venison chili made by Dave. And then I'm going to pair it with a nice Line Creek double chocolate stout. It's called Stout Side the Perimeter, brewed by our friends locally here at Line Creek Brewing Company. I think the chocolate, the richness of the chocolate and the beer should pair very well with the chili. So yeah, I think it's going to go good. We're going to talk about some things today. We're going to dive into a little history mystery here with the treasure of Jean Lafitte. We're going to talk about a movie called Evil Toons, and I'm going to give you some sports updates as usual. We got college,
and I'm sure you're going to give a detailed discussion about these topics.
And I'm going to deliver all of that coming up. But let's start by opening our Stout Side the Perimeter double chocolate stout. We're going to pour it into this red Solo cup. Pours out with a nice bit of head. It does quickly dissipate, however, I will say that.
A few moments later.
Smells of malt and chocolate, which is precisely what you want to smell and what should be on the nose of a double chocolate stout. Oh, yeah. God, that is heavenly delicious. Rich, chocolatey, malty, easy drinking. That is everything you could possibly want in a double chocolate stout. 10 out of 10 on that guy by itself. We'll talk about the pairing with the chili here shortly. 10 out of 10 on this, so definitely get you some Line Creek Stout Side the Perimeter. If you are not in the Atlanta, Georgia, or in the state of Georgia, I don't know what Line Creek's availability is outside of the state of Georgia.
Line Creek is exclusively in Georgia, with products in some Total Wines in California.
That's where I'm at. It's pretty available around here. Of course, I am actually literally live within striking distance of all of their locations. But having said that, if it's available where you are, get you some Line Creek double chocolate stout side the perimeter. All right, let's have a little, let's talk about Evil Toons. I know I've been taking you on a little bit of a journey of these movies that we find and watch, so you don't have to. However, I'm going to tell you, Evil Toons, one of the absolute best times I've had watching these movies so far. I highly recommend watching it. So here's a little bit about it. If you imagine an ancient book that had drawings in it, and this book was alive. This book had powers, and these drawings could come to life and cause chaos. But there's these 4 girls that get dropped off at this old abandoned house, mansion-looking thing. They have to clean it. They're supposed to be cleaning it all weekend. They get paid to do this job, et cetera, but they're going to stay there all weekend as they do it. This book gets mysteriously dropped off to them, and they have no idea what this book is. It's written in a foreign language, an ancient language. One of the girls happened to be a language expert, I suppose. She was able to read this and translate a lot of this stuff, but she made the mistake of, while translating it, she read some of the passages out loud, which allowed the beast, which was one of the drawings in the book, to come to life and wreak havoc. It's a wild ride. You will not be disappointed in Evil Toons. I would give it for these types of movies, it's a 9.5 out of 10 for sure. It is a good time to be had.
Why do these things always have to start with young, beautiful co-eds going into the basement?
I think that was a Prime Video find. Dave will give us some sort of graphic on our screen here to let me know if That is correct. But I believe that it is. I believe it was a Prime Video find. Top notch. Watch it. You will not regret it. It is not necessarily kid friendly though, so don't let the little ones
Rated R for strong
watch it with
language,
you.
nudity,
So there's
and
that.
suggestive situations.
As a matter of fact, most of these movies that I'm going to talk about, I probably wouldn't recommend having little ones watch it. But hey, you know, what can I say? So let's try some of this venison chili made by Dave. I'm excited. It looks delicious. It smells really good. Oh, yeah. Dave showing out with the venison chili. Top notch. I'll get another bite of it. Try it with the beer. Some pairing notes there. It's good chili. Really good.
I'm sorry, folks. Dave cut a lot of dead air. If he cut any more,
Yep.
there'd be no video.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good pair. Like I said, the richness of the cocoa that they use in the double chocolate stout comes really good with this chili. The spices that are in here, the tomatoes, everything's fantastic. This is a good pair. I like it. Things are going good here. Let's dive a little bit into a mystery of history. Jean Lafitte's treasure. Jean Lafitte was a pirate back in the late 1700s on into the 1800s. He was a pretty famous pirate. He was very much wanted by the United States government for his swashbuckling, buccaneering ways. But yeah, he was pretty good. He pretty much ruled the Gulf of Mexico at the time, and was pretty much headquartered out of New Orleans. He had a remote set of islands off the coast of New Orleans called the Barataria Bay, and I may not be saying that exactly right, but I'm close. And that was kind of their headquarters for their pirating
You're still talking?
operation. But he was
Man, he sure can
very
ramble, huh,
infamous.
folks?
Pirate for sure. In about 1814, he was approached by the British government. The British Navy was going to attempt to invade the city of New Orleans and capture it. And he was approached to help them
They made a movie about this very event called The Buccaneer, starring Charlton Heston.
do that. They wanted his help, knowing that he had a lot of equipment, a lot of weaponry, and a lot of very highly trained sea captains and whatnot that could help him do that. But he, being the witty guy that he was, he knew that he could use this information for good for him. So he went to the United States and told them that this was the plan. The British were going to invade, but he could help prevent it. He would give them weaponry, men, ships, everything they could need to help fight off the British Navy, which at the time was the best Navy in the world. So fighting off the British Navy at that time was not an easy feat. So the United States agreed to his help, and he did that. We defeated the British Navy. They never took over New Orleans. And upon that, he was given a pardon for all his crimes. And he did try to change his ways for a while, but the pirate life was for him. And he just couldn't give it up. So he went back out to his old ways. So, of course, he became wanted again pretty quick, but he was able to evade capture for his entire life. We don't know where his treasure is, though, and that's where the real mystery comes in. There's a lot of possibilities as to where his treasure could be. There have been treasure hunters who have hunted for the treasure in a lot of these spots. The one obvious spot is the Barataria Bay, which is where he was headquartered for most of his pirating days. Nothing's ever turned up there. There was some Spanish coins found there at one point in time, but there is no proof whatsoever that it ties back to Jean Lafitte at all, because there was a lot of pirating back in the day. Not only that, the Gulf of Mexico was a pretty traveled seaway, so those Spanish coins could quite possibly have come from any number of Spanish ships that had come through. We don't know. There's no way to tie that back. So that's the only thing that's ever been found really in that area. There was another remote island near the Barataria Bay called Orange Island. And they do know that he spent some time on Orange Island to escape capture at one point in time. They have done some digging there. Nothing's ever been found to prove that his treasure was ever there or anything like that. Another theory is there is a little river passage that goes out of the Gulf up into like Lake Charles and Louisiana. They know that he traveled that passage, and there is a possibility that he sank his ship there with treasure on board with the intentions of coming back to get it, because he knew those waterways better than anybody. If he would have known where he sank that ship, he would have been able to get back to it and recover his treasure in theory. Again, no proof. They did find what looks like remains of a ship in that water, but no real proof that it's his ship, and there's no sign of any treasure there. And the last possible, probably not the last possibility, there's probably lots of possibilities, but the last real known and talked about possibility is he moved to Galveston Bay, which of course is off the Gulf of Mexico, Texas there. He did have a home there, him and his wife, and I think they had some kids too. Anyway, they lived there. But all that remains of that property now is kind of like the foundation, a little bit of a shell of what it once was, and they will not allow for any digging there. So take that as you will. It is a little suspicious to me that they won't really allow anybody to come look. Either they knew it was there and have already taken it, or they want it to stay there for some reason. I don't know. But that sounds like a pretty good possibility to me, because the state of Texas and the U.S. government will not allow for anyone to go on that property and look for the treasure. Don't have a reason. But yeah, so the lost treasure of Jean Lafitte. Let's comment. Give me some ideas. If you know anything about the history of Jean Lafitte, hit us up. Give us some information. I like this kind of thing.
Yes, please
Huge
let him
fan
know how he can improve.
I'm a big history guy, and I love mysterious things in history that we don't have an answer for. But it's sports update time. I'm going to drink a beer.
Most of the games have already happened, because Dave sure takes his time editing.
The college football playoffs, as I sit here now, has come to the point of the national championship game, where the Indiana Hoosiers will do battle with the Miami Hurricanes. Indiana has never won a national football championship. Miami's trying to win their first since 2001. Yeah, it's going to be a good game, I think. Indiana is by far one of the best football teams I've seen in a long time. They don't make mistakes. They operate like a well-oiled machine. Miami is physical up front and has a good defense, so we'll see what happens. My money's on Indiana, though. I think they're going to do it. NFL playoffs are underway. Kicked off a little while ago, actually, with the LA Rams dispatching the Carolina Panthers, and what was a pretty good game, better game than I thought, since Carolina kind of backed their way in. I didn't know if they were going to play that well. But it was a good game. They fought hard, but LA did get the win, and we'll move on. As I speak, the Bears and the Packers are doing battle in Chicago at historic Soldier Field. Green Bay is up 21-3 as I walked into this room. So Chicago.
Again, games have already happened. Dave is just slow, and Randy takes a week to explain
tomorrow, obviously, with the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Buffalo Bills. We got the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. And we got the LA Chargers taking on the New England Patriots. Those all three tomorrow. And Monday night's playoff game is the Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Houston Texans. All should be pretty good games, I think. We're pulling for them Jags. So let's go Jaguars. It's probably what a Jaguar sounds like somewhere. There's probably like a child Jaguar, who like jumped out of a bush and was like, I think it was just like that, actually. I believe it. But yeah, so all this, 10 out of 10 here today on all the products. Well, I guess one's not really a product. The homemade venison chili by Dave, 10 out of 10. Stout Side of the Perimeter from Line Creek, 10 out of 10. And together they are really good. It's a great match. I recommend find your favorite chocolate stout. If you don't live around here and you can't get Line Creek's chocolate stout, there are other breweries making chocolate stouts that are good too. So find you a nice chocolate stout, make you some chili, and do them together. Yeah. Well, I think that's it, folks. I do thank you all for watching, subscribing, and getting those alerts. As always, let's get out there and donate to some charities. We got St. Jude's. We got Shriners. Let's adopt some kittens, some puppies, a toucan, a bird, parrots. There's all kinds of animals that need homes. So adopt them. They bring very much happiness. And as always, size matters, and so does the gravy on your biscuits. Boom, I am out.